today's video, we're going to be comparing two Gibson Green Widow guitars from different years. The first guitar is my personal Green Widow from 2012, and then we have this made-to-measure 2024 version that we're going to be shooting out in today's video. So let's get started and get rocking. Hey guys, welcome back to Squealing Pig Guitars, one of my luxury shred machines here in Nottingham, England. My name is Keightley, and in today's episode we're going to be comparing two of the same guitar model. We have two Gibson Green Widows here today, and the purpose of today's video is basically to compare how the old Widows looked in comparison to the new Widows. The new Widow that we have today is a made-to-measure 2024 Gibson Green Widow finish Les Paul Custom. And this guitar is very, very similar to my personal Green Widow, which I bought from 2012. So first off, we're going to have a closer look at each one of these guitars, and then we're going to hear a total comparison to see if they sound any different. So does 12 years of playing and a change of pickups really change the sound of a guitar? In today's episode, we're going to find out. So here we have the two Widows sat side by side, and from first glance, obviously they look very, very similar. But if we look at the made to measure a little bit more closely, you can just see how clean this finish is and how much more grain there is on that top. The gold is also very sparkly, whereas mine has dulled down a hell of a lot over the years, and you can see a lot of kind of chrome coming through almost now. Also, you can see all the scratches that I put in. Obviously, I've played these guitars for like 5 years, so it's got a lot of worn areas, including the lacquer checking on the headstock, whereas the made to measure obviously is a brand new guitar, so it's completely clean. The main difference between these guitars is the fretboard material. My personal Green Widow from 2012 has a rosewood fingerboard, whereas this one over here is obviously ebony, so it's very dark and really suits this guitar for sure. Also, I've added some modifications to my Green Widow. I've changed out the pickups for bare knuckle black dogs, whereas the original has the 490R 498Ts. The new made-to-measure version has a translucent finish on the back, so you can see the beautiful mahogany wood grain behind it, whereas mine is just a opaque black finish. Obviously, my guitar has had a lot of wear. I've played this guitar for the last 5 years continuously, and it's picked up a lot of dents and scratches on its way, and the finish is very much worn with a lot of lacquer checking.
I'm now just going to go into a little bit more detail about both of these guitars. Feel free to skip forward to the tone demo if you want to hear the guitars in action.
So this is guitar number one. This is the old-fashioned Widow, and this is my personal guitar. This is from 2012, and obviously features that amazing Green Widow finish. The main difference, as I mentioned in the intro, between this and the new one is the fretboard material. So this has rosewood fretboard. And you might be asking, why did they put a rosewood fretboard on a Les Paul Custom?
In 2011, the Gibson Guitar Company was raided by the Justice Department. Armed officers came in and confiscated their supply of ebony. This ebony that Gibson was using was illegally imported, and they settled in court for $350,000.
So as a result, they were coming up with substitutes. So obviously this model had the rosewood fretboard. A few years later, Gibson developed Richlight, which is an ebony substitute, which is a synthetic wood and basically simulates ebony. And that was on another run of Widows, which are less desirable because of the Richlight.
But the real question is what is Richlight, and does it sound worse? Well, Richlight is a high quality material made from recycled paper and resin, which offers a tone and feel allegedly similar to ebony, but without the ethical concerns. It does look very similar, it's very dark in character, but a lot of people would say it doesn't sound as good as ebony. Gibson guitars obviously use them, but so did Martin as well on some of their acoustic models.
But obviously I'm happy that I got a rosewood fingerboard one, as it makes it a little bit different. I find with the rosewood fingerboard, it's a little bit less bright than the made-to-measure one. Rosewood fretboards are definitely a little bit more mellow sounding. Ebony tends to be a little bit more brittle to my ears. As you can see, I've definitely beaten this guitar up. As I said, it's been my main player for the last 5 years. I actually bought this from Squealing Pig Guitars before I was doing demos for them. So it's quite funny how this is quite a full circle moment. This is obviously featured on the channel quite a few times. I've done a few comparison videos of this one. But it's interesting to see how a custom shop guitar changes from 2012 to 2024. I have to say that Gibson have definitely changed their finishing process and the way that they're constructing the guitars. This feels like a completely different guitar to the other one. I've recently had this set up, so this has had a full fret dress and fret level, as after 5 years of abuse, this guitar definitely needed a little bit of TLC. So the fretwork on this is just impeccable, and you can see them real mother of pearl inlays just like the made to measure one. So before we get on to the new 2024 Gibson Green Widow, let's hear a few tones on this amazing 2012 Gibson Green Widow. So now I've got the new 2024 made-to-measure Green Widow, and as you can see, the top is a little bit different. I would say that this top definitely has more figuring in it than my personal Green Widow, but I do prefer my top because I think it's a little bit wider. There's a lot more black in this finish than my one as well, but the main thing that I'm very jealous of is the translucent finish on the back. You can actually see the mahogany wood grain through the back of this, which is absolutely stunning. A very cool feature that the made-to-measure guys are doing at the custom shop. This guitar obviously has no lacquer checking in, so you can see that pristine headstock cap, which is very different to my one. Obviously no kind of erosion on the tuners either, but we've got the exact same tuners on here. There's the Grover Keystone tuners, pretty much the same specs. We've got a little bit of a thicker neck on this one. This feels a little bit more chunky than my one. We have an ebony fingerboard, obviously. This is a very nice dark piece of ebony with the mother of pearl inlays. Same binding, of course, gold buttons. The little medallion's different as well, so obviously now Gibson provide these awesome metal medallions. It says Gibson Custom, handcrafted in Nashville, Tennessee, whereas mine is just a plastic one. So this guitar has just been made, basically. It's completely brand new to us, came in the original box and all that. The smell of this guitar is incredible. It has that fresh nitro smell. And the finish on this one is very different to my one. I believe that my Gibson Green Widow feels a little bit more like a USA standard, whereas this one really feels like a pristine made custom shop. It does feel a little bit more high end than my Green Widow, which I'm sad to say, obviously, because I own the other one. This guitar definitely feels a little bit more well made, a little bit more pristine. In terms of the pickup set, I obviously do prefer the bare knuckle sounds. That's why I replaced them in the first place. But these do sound really good with this guitar, and this is a very well intonated guitar straight out the box. So before we do a tonal comparison of the two Widows, let's just hear this made-to-measure one on its own and see what it sounds like. So guys, what are my thoughts from this video? Obviously, I'm going to be slightly biased to my original Green Widow, as this is my #1 guitar really, and I play it every single day. My personal Green Widow has a little bit of a slimmer neck carve to the new made-to-measure version. And I've just had my Green Widow set up, so it's had a fret dressed and a new fret level, so it plays amazingly and it looks really cool as well. For me and my personal taste, a Black Dog pickup from Bare Knuckle is a lot more lower output than the 490 RT, so they have a little bit more of a old-fashioned sound, which I prefer from a Les Paul. A little bit more like a Les Paul Standard than a Les Paul Custom. With that being said, the 490R and 490 AT pickup set in the modern Les Paul Custom really did scream, and they did sound amazing on the video. Personally, I can't pick between these two guitars. Obviously, if I had to pick one, I'd probably go for my one, as there's a lot of sentimental value, and obviously I've kind of, aged it through playing. So I've got a lot more kind of feeling towards that guitar, but in terms of the two guitars and how they play, they're pretty much identical.
So here's Future Ben basically editing this video, and from hearing the footage from this video, I can tell that the new made-to-measure guitar is a hell of a lot brighter than my Green Widow, and I think there's a couple of reasons why. Number one is the pickups. The 490R are obviously a lot higher output, but they also are a lot more treble heavy to kind of play metal and more overpowered styles. Obviously, you have the ebony fingerboard as well, which has tonal characteristics of being brighter than rosewood. So I think it's them factors that are contributing to this guitar being a little bit brighter than my original Green Widow. But I just wanted to add that in today's video at the end.
Could you hear a difference? Let me know in the comment section below. Could you hear a tonal difference between the modern Green Widow and my Green Widow? Let me know. Also, whilst you're down there, let me know if you own any Gibson Les Paul custom guitars. I absolutely love mine, and I'd love to hear about your collection down below. And whilst you're down there, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more content. But thank you so much for watching Squealing Pig Guitars, and I'll see you tomorrow for another episode. But until then, keep rocking guys, I'll see you soon.